Make sure you're at the right station. Turn on your scanner. And log into your computer. Log into the computer you're using with your school username and password. You're going to need one of these document covers that can be found on the center tables. Open the scanner and put in the document cover. There are 4 little tabs that need to slide into these slots. Put your pinhole negative on the scanner face down. Close the lid of your scanner. Notice which scanner you have. On this side of the digital lab, we have new scanners that are Epson V550s. Over here on this side of the digital lab, we have the older scanners, which are the Epson V500s. You're going to need to open Epson Scan. If Applications appears in your dock, go ahead and click on that. And then open the folder Epson Software. And open Epson Scan. Then select the correct version depending on which scanner you're using. I'm using V550, so that's the one I'm going to select. You should select Yes for using Twain. If Applications does not appear in your dock, you can always click on the Finder icon and then select Applications from the window that pops up. You would then scroll down and look for Epson Software, open Epson Software, open Epson Scan, and also select the correct version based on what scanner you're using. Once it's open, be sure to change it from full auto mode to professional mode. With that screen up, be sure that your settings match this setting here. Document type, reflective, document source, scanner glass, auto exposure type, photo, image type, 24-bit color, resolution 300 dpi. Once you're sure that matches, you can hit preview. Now, click and drag to draw a box around the part of this preview that you want to scan. It should include your entire pinhole photograph. Once you've done that, click back to this window, click Scan. Make sure that your location is Other Desktop. Under Prefix, you can type in your name and pinhole. Now hit OK. Great, now you've scanned your pinhole. You'll see your file appears on the desktop. The next thing you need to do is to open it in Photoshop. To open Photoshop, move your mouse down to the bottom of your screen, click on Applications in the dock, look for the blue folder that is Adobe Photoshop, click on it, open Adobe Photoshop, which is a blue PS. Once Photoshop is open, go ahead and open your image within Photoshop. The best way to do this is to click on the image on your desktop and drag it into the dock into Photoshop. Let go once you've placed it over Photoshop. Now that your file is open within Photoshop, here's what to do next. First, go to Image, Mode, Grayscale. It is okay to discard the color information. Next, if you were to need to rotate your image, here's how you would do it. Image, Image Rotation, and you could select any command that you wanted to make sure that your image is facing the right way. Now, you'll want to crop your image so that you're only looking at your pinhole photograph. Notice how mine right now has some white areas around the edges. Go to the crop tool here, or you can click C on your keyboard as a shortcut. With the crop tool, you can bring in each edge so that you're only looking at your photograph and you have cut out all of the extra parts you don't need. Once you've done that, go up to the top right-hand part of your Photoshop screen and click the check mark. Now, we're going to copy this layer and paste it onto a new layer. The way to do that is to go to Select All, or you can do the shortcut of Command A. Now we're going to copy it, which you can go to Edit, Copy, or the shortcut of Command C. Now we're going to paste, which is Edit, Paste, or Command V. Notice how you now have two layers, a background layer and layer 1. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Image, Canvas Size, so that we can increase our canvas size by doubling the width. So if my width is 7.7 right now, I can use a calculator to find out exactly what that width is, or I can simply estimate. For example, I could just say it's close to 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. So I could put in 16 inches. I don't do anything with the height. Down here where it says anchor, I need to click the left arrow. This means that all of my extra space will be added to the right. Finally, I can hit OK. I now have some extra space in my canvas. I may want to zoom out a little bit so that I can see my whole canvas. If you, on your keyboard, hold Command and negative, that will zoom out your canvas just a little bit so that you can see everything you're working on. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move our layer that we pasted over so that we can see both of them at once. In my toolbar, I can click on the Move tool here, or I can type V on my keyboard as a shortcut. Now I can click and drag to move my image over. Now I have both of my pictures lined up right next to each other. To make my second image a positive, what I'm going to do is go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. Notice how now you can read the letters on my example. Next, go to Image, Adjustments, Invert. Now you have a positive. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the values in our positive to make sure that I can see as much as possible in the image. Making sure that you are on your positive layer, for me that's called layer 1, you're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and Brightness and Contrast. You can move this window around so that you can see your whole picture while you're working. Make adjustments very slowly. I can increase the brightness or decrease it. I can also increase the contrast or decrease it. Experiment with this until you feel that you've created the best possible range of values for your image. You want to see dark values, light values, and a good range of grays in between. When you are done, go ahead and hit OK. Now crop your image to make sure that you don't have any extra canvas space that's not being used by your photograph. Again, you can click on the crop tool in your toolbar, or you can type C on your keyboard to get there via the shortcut. Once I have my crop set up correctly, I can go up here and click Check. In order to save your project once you're done, go to Layer, Flatten Image. This reduces the number of layers you have to just one. Now go to File, Save As. Make sure you're still on the desktop. Change it from Format Photoshop to Format JPEG. And finally, let's change the name of your file so that you're ready to turn it in. It should be last name, first name, and then pinhole positive in this case. If this is your GT out of class pinhole positive, you would put GT pinhole positive. Finally, you can hit Save. Make sure that your JPEG options, the quality should be 12. It often starts you off at 8. You can slide the marker over so that it says 12 and hit OK. We're going to store our digital files in our school Google Drives. To get there, go down to the dock on your computer and open Firefox. This should pull up hcpss.me. If it doesn't for some reason, you can simply type that into the navigation bar on your browser. Now click on G Suite. You're going to have to enter your school username and password here. Once you're in your school Google Drive account, you're going to create a new folder for Photo 1. So new folder. Within that Photo 1 folder, you're going to create a project folder for every project that we do. For example, our first one is going to be pinhole photography. In pinhole photography is where you're going to store your project. So right now, you probably have two files on your desktop, your original scan and your final pinhole positive. You can put both of them into this Google folder you just created for pinhole photography. To select more than one thing at once, click and draw a box that includes both of them. Then you can click and drag them into this folder. Then they will upload. Finally, delete these files from your desktop by selecting them, dragging them to the trash.